Right, I'm still alive. I am so sorry that I haven't posted an update for God knows how long, probably since New Year. A lot has happened, good, bad, indifferent. So let's get straight into the video. The plan for this year is to run fast over the 5, the 10, the half, and the marathon, just to get some ego out of the way so I never have to do a marathon again. But let's see how this year's going so far. We started off New Year stinking ill. I caught some sort of flu bug that wiped me out for 4 days or so, 5 days or so. And that was when I was planning to do Tatton Park on the 3rd of January, and it was an absolute nightmare, to tell you the truth. I turned up still hoping that I'd be able to run. I had hydrated, I'd stretched, I had drugged, caffeinated, carb loaded as best as I could to try and shake off any ill that I was feeling. And on the day, it just didn't happen. I got to the start line, did 2K, realised that I just needed to walk and try and jog myself through to the finish line, and it took me 61 minutes. 61 is diabolical by anyone's standard. I wouldn't even do that on an easy run. So I was that unwell. I'll try and find some of the photos, but it was very much just pretend smiles at that point. I was very, very unwell. So that was embarrassing, hence why there was no video footage. I didn't want to upload it. I didn't even take the camera. So that was that. To hopefully then re-massage my ego, I did run a 46:23 on the treadmill on the 17th of January for a 10K. So faith restored. It wasn't an all-out run. It was just to see if I was still capable of being a runner. So that helped. Then leading up to my birthday, I caught norovirus, which generally, when I go on holiday, I tried to do a half marathon around the city, just see what it's about, record some nice long distance. Saw nothing but the bathroom, literally. A few bits and pieces, a few nice meals, which was just tapas and a few bits and pieces. But yeah, I lost 7 to 8 pounds and I had a great experience with norovirus. I managed to come back and put myself in for another Tatton run because of how poor January went, that I wanted to prove to myself in February that I could do it. So yeah, post-holiday, came back and I did a 48:29. It was going okay. I went out with the intention of just jogging below 5-minute pace and seeing where we could get. I knew I could probably do a sub 50. So I ended up getting 48:29, 6K, then started to feel empty, had nothing left. And I did walk for 15 seconds twice during that race. Again, no camera, I just wanted to prove to myself that I could, and I just got back off holiday, so pretty relaxed at that point. So for the proper content for the session, for this video, should I say, is my training programs. I've been training very, very consistently. I've been enjoying my programs. I've switched now from training for a 10K towards a half. So there's a lot more distance running. There's a lot more kilometerage in there. I'm generally running between 45 and 52K a week. Still injury free, touch wood or proper wood. Running 5 times a week. The next race that we've got is on the 8th of March, which is Fradley. So I'm feeling optimistic for that. But this year's goals of setting a 41-minute 10K is a bit tight. It's a bit tight. So let's go through the training program then. So what I've got is 2 easy runs that are roughly 6K, and I do those on a Monday and a Friday, depending on what the week looks like with work. And they're generally about 6:30 pace between zone 2 and just ticking into zone 3 for some of that. I do pull it back if I do start to progress towards halfway through zone 3. Fascinating thing you can do with your Apple Watch and your phone now is you can actually see all of your stats on your phone, prop it up on the treadmill, and that is the easiest setup I've got to see how much effort I'm using or giving on a session. So it's a great way to see if I need to rein it in or can push a bit faster. So of late I've been able to take 10-15 seconds pace off this easy run to be able to run a bit faster. Alternate week training program, so I may do an 8k threshold run, which is just as fast as I can. My last session was a threshold run, which was 8k 35:10, which is a 4:24 pace. Did finish that session at 3:45. Started it a bit easier because I was a bit stiff, but all in all, new personal best, 8k, fastest than I've ever done. 60-minute run was diabolical because that was just after I was ill, just after Tatton, and that was an 11.7. Generally, I do 12 to 12.5k on those sessions, so fingers crossed for the following week that sorts itself out. Given the fact it was a really bad run for that 60-minute run last week, I had a paddy and wanted to do another long run, which was an hour and 45. That was bang on 19k. 5:30 pace, I believe, which isn't anywhere near half marathon or marathon pace. But again, just starting to add that distance in, trying to build a good baseline for me to work off to try and get faster and run further, all the rest of it. But again, the 52 kilometer weeks, as they start to build, I should get some really good fitness behind me to start increasing the speed and the pace, the speed and the distance. So the other long run for that week is 3 times 5Ks off 5-minute recovery. I would love for all of those to be under 25. They're going to be no faster than 22. I've done this session where I did 2 5Ks at 22-minute pace and it absolutely ruined me. So between 23 and 25 is most likely going to happen. The other run that I do in the week is a threshold run, which is progressive. So every week it gets slightly longer, slightly more intense. So we've started the block at 6 times 6 minutes. At 4:08 pace with 1 minute recovery in between. We're hopefully by the end of mid-March, by the mid-March end of the block, we're going to be doing 7x7s, and that should hopefully then be pushing me towards the 10 to 12 kind of threshold pace, 10 to 12 kilometer threshold pace that I'd need for a race. 4:08 is still a dream pace that I'd love to hold. It's not quite there. It's not going to be there this year. 100% don't think it's going to happen. But trainers for the year, we are Nike Vomero Pluses for long, easy runs, anything over 15k outdoors. The Vaporfly 4s are brand new. I should really have got them out and showed you all the colours and things, but you can see them on Nike's website. So the Vaporfly 4s are for half races and for longer, harder runs. Not really meant to wear carbon-plated shoes for training, but if you are going to do a harder run, recommend it just so you can get familiar with race pace. We've got some Pegasus Pluses. Love these. Easy shoes. Got them for Christmas. Put them to use. They are good for shorter runs, so I wouldn't go anything further than probably a half in those, but that's where you rotate between those and the Vomeros. The Alphafly 3s that I ran last year for the marathon in Manchester, they haven't had much use, so they're gathering dust. So I'm not going to buy any new shoes for this marathon this year. They're going to be used for the marathon, obviously, and any run that leads up to about 30 kilometers that I'd like to do at race pace, that's what they're for. And once the marathon's done, they're probably going to go in the bin. That's literally what it's going to be. Record hopefully somewhere in the region of a 3:30, 3:50 marathon. Call it a day. Get rid of them. So like I said, Fradley is next up on the 8th of March. We are looking for probably a 43-minute pace on that one. I don't think 41 is going to happen this year, but as long as I don't get injured, as long as I keep progressing and avoiding calf injuries, Achilles injuries, hip flexor injuries, which I did last year, we're living the dream. Put some good training blocks behind me and that should hopefully get some PBs. So happy days. You're all caught up. Sorry it's been a while, but please subscribe. Please like the video if it's been of use, because you've got trainers in there, you've got my training programs in there, and you can play with some of that. But yeah, until the next one, hopefully it's not too long. Fradley's not far away. Take the body cam for that. Should be better weather, should be running outside more, so there should be some more content. And obviously I've not been avoiding the business side of things. I've just been so busy with clients. That's starting to ease off and should hopefully pick up again towards the summer, but it gives me a chance to record some more content for YouTube. So stay tuned.